You're watching the sports and political channel of LB. If you're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Let's get down to business. So, the Chicago Bulls are intent on trading away Zach Lavine. There's a whole lot of trade scenarios that's out there floating around when it comes to Zach Lavine. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on the New York Knicks because that was one of the trade scenarios that has been floated around. Now, in this scenario, the Knicks would get Zach Lavine and the Bulls would get R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and the 2024 first-round pick. It's just one issue. Zach Lavine does not want to go to the Knicks. And why is that? Why does Zach Lavine not want to go to the bright lights of New York City? And it's pretty petty. And if the Chicago Bulls were to pull off this trade, that means the Chicago Bulls are going to, in all likelihood, go into rebuild mode. Now, according to the New York Daily News, there were trade talks held between the two teams, but Zach Lavine's hidden relationship with the Knicks front office is likely the cause of stopping any potential trade agreement from happening. So the Bulls are reportedly gauging interest in the All-Star guard, which prompted speculation that the Knicks, who are strapped with future draft assets, would get involved. But a source said that the Lavine camp isn't interested in dealing with the Knicks, who have a reputation of building around clients of the CAA. That is the former agency that employed Leon Rose before his move to the front office. So any client of Leon Rose from his time as an agent is most likely going to be a trade target. Not saying all the time, but most of the time. Now, Zach Lavine is represented by Clutch. We all know who runs Clutch Sports. That's Rich Paul. Now, before creating Clutch Sports in 2012 with LeBron James, CAA was representing LeBron James. And guess who was in charge of CAA when LeBron James left for Rich Paul? It was Leon Rose, the Knicks' current general manager. Rose worked at CAA and represented the Heat's big three of D. Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James. 11 years later, Rich Paul has a bad relationship with Leon Rose. Rich Paul represents Zach Lavine. Leon Rose does not want to participate in Lavine, nor does Rich Paul wish to deal with the new Knicks front office. It has much less to do with the salary cap or the players. It just focused on agency wars that took away from the biggest draw in basketball history after Jordan. So this is where we at. This is where we at. So a petty behind-the-scenes beef between Rich Paul and Leon Rose, plus Zach Lavine's loyalty to Rich Paul, is why this trade is not going to go down. Now, conversely, when Bradley Beal was traded to the Phoenix Suns, right? What did I talk about in that trade scenario, right? Because I did a YouTube short about it and I did a long live stream about it. When Bradley Beal was traded from the Washington Wizards to the Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal was represented by a guy by the name of Mark Bartelstein. Josh Bartelstein is the son to Mark Bartelstein, who just happens to be the top-level executive for the Phoenix Suns. Do you see why that trade went down the way it did? So what we're finding here more often than not is that relationships in the front office and behind the scenes plays a major part on who gets traded where and how these trades go down. So any talk of Zach Lavine going to the Knicks via trade, signing with the Knicks via free agency is going to be null and void, barring any changes within the front office. Now, if it so happens that Rich Paul ends up being the GM of the New York Knicks or whatever, then Zach Lavine might have a different outlook on life. But as of right now, any Knicks fans that was hoping and clamoring for Zach Lavine to go there, yeah, you better off not holding your breath on that one. But hey, and then let's just keep this 100, right? Because Zach Lavine has had a history of choking in the playoffs. Do you want him going in a city like New York anyway, playing for a city that will run his behind out of town the minute he goes out there and chokes in the playoffs? Because they already got a playoff choke artist on that roster in Julius Randle. They have another one on that roster as well as R.J. Barrett. So you don't need a Zach Lavine to go over there and choke the team's playoff chances away. Nah. Now you stay right there in Chicago, and the Bulls is gonna have to eat that. Now there's other trade scenarios out there. There's talk about him going to the Portland Trailblazers. There's others about him going to Miami Heat. There's all kinds of trade scenarios out there for Zach Lavine. But as of right now, he's still a Chicago Bull, and he has a massive contract that he signed just last season. And this is the downside of signing a player to a contract that contains an enormous amount of money. Because if that player underperforms and it's time to trade that guy, well, teams are not going to want to give up their assets for an underperforming, overpaid star. Especially if a team is rebuilding. So we'll have to see what happens with this. Once again, Zach Lavine possibly going to the Knicks. Yeah, that is not going to happen. You're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Last but definitely not least, shouts out to the LDBC, Lions Den basketball community. This your man. Scream at me. Oh!